Hi, welcome back to the Colorblind Architect Podcast. I'm David, and I'm out for a little walk/trail run with my trusty Apollo. And as you can see, I'm just above Salt Lake City. It's always wonderful to come up here and look down on all the skyscrapers. You know, as I've mentioned in the past, being an architect, obviously I design buildings, but I still love seeing how small and tiny the skyscrapers are relative to the mountains. And what's so beautiful about that is it helps remind us of how tiny we are as people. Now, obviously, we do great things when we get all together, and it's also kind of scary because when we get together, we can do really scary things. Recently, I learned about a water diversion project in China where they are routing a lot of the water from the Mekong and the Yellow rivers up to the Beijing area because there's not enough water in the Beijing area. And did China consult with their neighbors, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, these countries that depend on the Mekong River? That's their river too. That's their water supply too. And yet, I don't think they did. And it brings up an interesting point. See, we have in this country a constitution which is designed around the idea of a balance of powers. And this balance of powers is a really interesting one because, in a pure democracy, you would have majority rules. And that's what a lot of people think that we have. We don't actually have majority rules. We actually have a protected minority / majority rules. It's a republic, and the idea of the republic is to try to prevent the majority from tyrannizing the minority. I base this claim on Federalist Paper number 10, written by James Madison. If you haven't read it, you really should. It's one of the most important of the Federalist Papers, and in it talks about factions and how the tyranny of a faction can actually be just as bad as the tyranny of an absolutist monarch or a totalitarian dictator. So why do I bring this up? Well, right now we've got the tyranny of the majority. The Democrats have a very slim majority in Congress, and they also hold the White House. As a result, they're pushing through all kinds of crap that I think most people in this country don't want, but because an extreme minority within the Democrat Party, which controls the Democrat Party, they are able to push through because they have this narrow majority. Take, for example, gun control. How many times have we gone through this argument? Gun control is such a stupid concept. Here's the reason why. Criminals don't give a rat's ass about your laws. Criminals will find a way to get guns no matter what. And hey, England, by the way, I know you control the sale of knives, which I think is absolutely stupid. Yeah. Apollo says it's time to go. See, that's the thing. Criminals, they'll find a way. Because they're criminals. They know how to get things. There is an illicit market, after all. Do you really think that you're going to be able to control this, governments? And I don't, personally, I'm not worried about myself. But I am worried about people who are at risk, people who do have legitimate concerns for their safety. If they want to be a law-abiding gun owner, then let them. Because if they're responsible, they're going to use it responsibly. If they're irresponsibly, they'll go to jail. And yeah, I know, it's painful. Every time we see one of these gun shootings, one of these mass shootings, and we all think, oh, we got to do something. Every politician's always thinking, hey, we've got to do something. Well, we already did something back in 1787. It was called the Constitution. And in it, we have the Bill of Rights, including the Second Amendment. That Second Amendment clearly states that we have a right to keep and bear arms. Now, that bearing of arms is kind of the important key issue right now. Because what Biden and the Democrats are attempting to do right now is they are attempting to restrict the sale of all ammunition as a backdoor means of gun control. Well, see, here's the thing. If we have a right to bear arms, well, the arms are useless without ammunition. We have a right to bear those arms, which means the right to be able to discharge those arms in a lawful manner. If that means in self-defense, then yes. Well, that means the ammunition is included in the Second Amendment. Congress shall make no law abridging that. Even states are held to that standard because it is a fundamental right of the people, not the government, to keep and bear arms. Now, so here's the challenge. What are we going to do about it? Well, you got to speak out. You got to write your congressperson. You got to make sure that your voice is heard. Don't let the Second Amendment be eliminated by subterfuge with the narrowest of majorities in Congress that I think we've ever seen. I mean, like, literally, the Democrats only control by maybe a couple seats. That is inexcusable to allow such a narrow such a narrow majority to be able to take away the rights of 330 million Americans. And with that, I say farewell. Peace out.